Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a concept from the Quran that's been a source of wonder and debate for centuries, the divine throne. But what is it really? We're going to dive deep, way beyond the literal, to get to its truly profound meaning.
So let me ask you, when you hear the words throne of God, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's this image of a giant, majestic chair, right? Kind of floating up in the clouds. It's a powerful image for sure. But is that what the Quran is actually describing? That's the big question we're going to unpack today. Okay, so our whole exploration really kicks off with verses just like this one. I mean, just listen to the cosmic scale of it. The heavens raised up with no pillars you can see. And then comes the critical part. God established himself above the throne, or the Arsh. This one statement, you guys, is like the key that opens the door to a massive and incredibly deep theological conversation. Right, so that's the setup. And if we really want to get what establishing himself above the throne actually means, we have to let go of that simple physical picture. I mean, theologians have been saying for ages that if you're just thinking of it as a piece of furniture, well, you're kind of missing the whole point. This basically leads us down two different paths. On one hand, you've got the literal view. The throne is a physical object, a chair. But on the other hand, there's the theological view, and this is the one the sources really point us to. It sees the throne as something way, way bigger, a powerful symbol of God's absolute power and total control over, well, everything. But you might be wondering, what's the big deal? Why is the literal view a problem? Well, here's the thing. A core idea in Islamic theology is that God is infinite. He's not physical, and he's not limited by space or time. So if you say he's sitting on a physical throne, you're basically putting the limitless in a box. You're giving form to something that has no form. And that's exactly what scholars call anthropomorphism, making God seem human, which is a concept they really tried to steer clear of. And this all circles back to the actual Arabic word itself, Arsh. Yeah, you can translate it as throne or seat, but in this context, its meaning is just so much grander than a physical object. It's not something you can point to. It's the idea of God's supreme authority. Think of it like the conceptual headquarters for the entire universe. Okay, so we've established that Arsh is really about sovereignty. Now let's see how the language in the Quran backs up this idea of total, ultimate dominion. Remember that phrase from earlier? He established himself above the throne? Well, the key verb there is Istawa. Now, literally, it can mean something like to rise up. But theologically, it's way more powerful. It means to establish total control, to take charge completely. It's not about the physical act of sitting down. It's a metaphysical statement about ultimate power. So let's put it all together. The Arsh isn't a chair. It's the conceptual command center from which all of reality is governed. It's a metaphor for God's total knowledge, his total power, his absolute command over every single thing in existence. It's a way for us to even begin to talk about a reality that's just beyond what we can see and touch. And it gets even deeper. This symbol of dominion, it has a structure. There's a narration that describes the throne as having 4 foundational pillars. But these aren't just any pillars. They represent the core truths that hold up God's authority. Now, to be super clear, we're not talking about physical pillars holding up a big chair in the sky. Nope. These are metaphorical pillars. They're the 4 fundamental truths that actually define the relationship between God and everything he created. So what are they? Let's break them down. First, you have Subhanallah, glory be to God. This is all about divine transcendence. The idea that God is perfect, way beyond any flaw we could ever imagine. Then, the second pillar, Alhamdulillah, all praise is for God. This is the principle that all good comes from him, so he's the only one who truly deserves our praise. Pillar number 3, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. This is the bedrock of monotheism, right? The absolute unity of God. And finally, the 4th pillar, Allahu Akbar. God is the greatest. This represents his infinite power, a greatness that we literally can't even begin to compare to anything else. So, the big takeaway here. These aren't just load-bearing columns. They're the fundamental principles that are said to hold up reality itself. We're talking transcendence, praise, unity, and greatness. These concepts are the very definition of God's relationship with his creation. Okay, so after all that, what does this symbolism really mean for how we understand the divine? Well, when you boil it all down, the Quran's mention of the throne isn't really asking us to picture a piece of furniture in space. It's an invitation to think about something so much bigger.
It's about contemplating this profound reality, God's total, absolute, unchallenged command over everything. It's a symbol of ultimate authority, not, a cosmic recliner. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. The throne acts like a bridge, right? It's this powerful symbol that helps our very human, very limited minds get a handle on a truth that's, it's completely beyond our physical senses. And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge, profound truths are out there, waiting for us to understand them through the power of metaphor? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.